Today, we're going to talk about how do you come up with ideas that people actually want. Ideas are a dime a dozen, but usually two things happen is you go, I have this great idea, and either you don't pursue it because it's too much work and it's just too daunting a task, or two, you do pursue it without testing it. And people go, like myself, we go, okay, I have this great idea. I'm going to go spend 6 months, a year building out this thing without ever realizing and testing, like, do people actually want this? Just because I think it's a great idea doesn't mean it's actually great. Or the core of it is great, but it needs to be tweaked a little bit before it's actually ready. Very, 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 very little do people have ideas, and then that is the business plan, right? Amazon wasn't always Amazon. It was a bookstore first, and you had to tweak it and tweak it and tweak it. And there's countless other examples. So today, we're gonna have a 2-part series of a 15-minute summary talking about 2 books. The first is Sprint, and the second is Click. These are both books written by Jake Knapp. And I love these books. I've read both of them, and I've tried out what they actually teach. And that's what we're gonna talk about today is how do you create something that people actually want? Now, before we get started, I want to preface a few things. First of all, these are very quick summaries. I'm not going to give you the whole thing. The goal is that I can teach you everything about these books, the key things, in about 15 minutes or less. The second thing is this book, both these books, talk about how do you do this in a team, right? They're usually referencing teams of 6 to 8 people. Now, I know most of the people listening to this are probably working on projects by themselves or with 1 or 2 other people. And so I'm going to keep that in mind. That is who I'm speaking to when I'm talking about this, right? This book is talking about, okay, how do you have this whole process over a few days? Now, I think you can do this in a few hours. And I'm really going to preface this and speak to you in the sense of, you're working by yourself or only with a couple other people. So with that being said, start the timer. Let's get into it. All right. First things first is the whole point of Click is to build a founding hypothesis. Now, what is a founding hypothesis? Well, we're going to build up to that. But all you need to know is a founding hypothesis is a way for you to take your idea, look at it in a sensible way and understand, okay, does that make sense? Does this seem like it would actually be a good business and a good idea? I'm going to give you one example before we dive into it of what a founding hypothesis actually sounds like. For any of you coffee drinkers out there, this is Blue Bottle Coffee, and this is the founding hypothesis they made when they did this process. If we help coffee drinkers solve the need for a break with artisan coffee and chic cafes, they will choose it over Starbucks because our solution is delicious and beautiful. That's the founding hypothesis. And you have to look at that and you go, does that make sense? And yeah, it makes sense. Blue Coffee built an amazing business out of this founding hypothesis. So that's what we're going to do with your idea. And I'm going to walk us through the process, and I'm going to give you real life examples of when I used it, and I'm currently using it for one of my startups. First thing you need to do is start by identifying your customer and a real problem that you can solve for them. Now, who's your customer? What do they look like? Well, this could be anyone. It could be teachers. It could be 20 to 30-year-olds. It could be athletes. It could be food lovers. I don't know who it is, but you need to brainstorm. Now, second thing, what problem are you actually solving for them? You have to really actually lay it out in a sentence. I'm solving this exact problem for them. Now, for me, when I was starting with my startup Progress, it was this. It was goal-oriented individuals. That's who we felt our customers were. And the problem we were solving was there's no culturally normal way to share all your goals in Progress. Now, that might seem a little over the top and a little much, but for my idea and for my startup, that's what it was, and that's what made sense to us. Now, before we go any further, I want to clarify this for anyone who's working with a team. It could be as small as 2 people, it could be as big as 10 people. This is one of the best takeaways from the book, actually. It's how do you answer these questions when there's multiple people involved? And there's a few things I want to touch on. The first is working alone together. If there are 4 of you, let's say, do not have a group discussion. Group discussions don't lead anywhere. People don't actually speak their mind because they're afraid to. People who are talkers talk too much, and people who are scared or maybe a little more introverted don't talk enough. And so what you need to do is you need to work together alone. And what you're going to do is you're going to basically, everyone's going to get sticky notes, and you're just going to write down as many ideas as you can. So when I did this, I was writing down goal-oriented people, coaches, athletes, and just get as many out as you can. And everyone on their own will do that and put them onto a whiteboard, onto a table, a shared space. And then what you're going to do is everyone's just going to vote. You're going to vote, I like these 3. And then the other person goes, I like these 3. And the other person goes, I like these 3. And then you're going to look at it and you go, okay, great. Like this one was clearly the front runner. Everybody likes this one. Take it and go. The goal here is that this is quick, these are gut reactions, and you're not taking 30 minutes, an hour, 3 hours trying to answer these questions, right? Like we're trying to get to the root and the core of things. So start a timer, give everyone sticky notes, work on your own, and then everyone votes on which one they like best. And it's also important to have a decider. Now, a decider is who gets the final say if there's arguments or if there's a tie. The decider, their word is final. That's what the name is for. For me and my startup, I was the decider. And if we ever had a disagreement or if we were a little unsure about which way we wanted to go, I would decide and we would just move on. So pick someone in your group to be the decider so that if there is a stall in the momentum, they can help keep you moving forward. So first thing, who's your customer and what problem are you actually solving for them? Number two is advantage. What is your advantage? You need to be taking advantage of your advantages. Now, when I say advantages, I don't mean about your product or your idea. I mean about you and your team. Now, we're going to break this down into 3 parts. The first is capability. What are the capabilities that you and your team have that other people don't have? For me and my partner, we have more free time than anyone else. We're college students. We have a lot of time to dedicate towards this. Second one is, what insights do you have that other people don't have? Well, this was all about self-progress and goal-oriented things. And that's all I do. I have a podcast about it, a book about it. That's what I love to do. And I have a lot of insights into this world. And then third was, what's your motivation? Why do you want to do this? Why are you motivated to do this? And for me, and for him, we were both like, we just want this app. Like whether it actually turns into something or not, like we would like this app. And so that's where, that was our advantage as a team. You need to sit down with your team and go, okay, what are our advantages? And do the same process of work alone together. Sticky notes, put them all on the table, vote. If you have a tie, let the decider keep the momentum moving forward. Now, the third thing you need to do is get real about your competition. Who are you up against? Like, this is really, really important. Don't get shy about it. Don't be like, it's fine. Like, no, you need to look this in the face. For us, when we were looking at our competition and how are you sharing your goals and sharing your progress towards your goals, it was a few things. Well, the top contenders were Instagram, Strava, journaling, goal tracking apps. Those are the big ones we identified. And you should also identify like who's your main component, who's the 800-pound gorilla that you have to face. And for us, it was iMessage. We felt like people were mostly sharing their goals and their progress by texting each other and being like, I just did this, just hit 225 on bench, just landed this new job, et cetera, et cetera. And we be able to sit down and go, okay, that's what it is. For Blue Bottle Coffee, they're like Starbucks. Like that's who we're up against. So it's really important that you and your team or yourself sit down with your idea and go, okay, who you're up against. And a bit of a warning, like you should probably be up against somebody. If there's no one in the space, like maybe you hit the gold mine, but that's also a red flag. Like, why is no one else in this space? And that's also a sign for you, okay, let's dive a little deeper, because if no one else has done, it's very unlikely no one's ever had the idea. It's probably, okay, someone did this. What happened? What can I learn from what went wrong? Number 4 is differentiation. Now, this is where we talk about your idea and how is it different. And what you're going to do is you're going to create a 2x2 chart. And the goal here is that you're up in the top right and everyone else is in Loserville, as the book describes it. You need to pick 2 qualities in which you are significantly better than the competition. Now, here's a list of some example ones that are pretty easy. Things like cheap versus expensive, fast versus slow, right? And what you're going to do is everyone's going to take turns doing your note, and you're working alone together and writing down on your sticky notes. And you're going to write down pairs of qualities that you think your idea is better than other people. For us, we tried a few, but we ultimately landed on healthy and not healthy and visual and not visual. So let me break that down for you. If you remember who we were up against before, our first thing was, okay, we want it to be visual. Like we think visual social media is much more appealing, right? We are visual creatures. And so if you plot us against visual and not visual, only Instagram is at the far right with us. Instagram is super visual. Goal tracking apps are not. Journaling is not. Strava is not. iMessage is not, right? So then at that point, okay, we're on the right side, everyone else on the left side. This is a good start. But we had to separate ourselves from Instagram. So you go, okay, what makes us different? Well, we're a healthy form of social media. So that was our thing. We want to be visual and healthy. And then all of a sudden, we are in the top right. Everyone else was either top left or bottom right. And that's an example, okay, like that's how we separated ourselves. And those were the 2 characteristics that we felt separated our idea from the competition. The next thing you want to do is you want to come up with principles. These principles will help you keep your differentiation and keep your initial vision for the project. You want to write these down as a way for you to look back in the future and go, okay, like here's what the vision was. The vision was that we were different by being visual. The vision was that we are always healthy. And what you're going to do here is I'm going to give you the examples of what we rewrote. The 3 that we ended up writing were people want to grow, social media can exist without toxicity, first customers, second growth, third profitability. Those were our 3 bullet points. And the goal there is it's just a way to remind yourself in the future as you grow and as you get farther away from the initial vision of like, okay, like, hey, here's where we want this to go. Here's where we think we're better and different. And there's just a nice thing for you to come back to. It's not actually as crucial as other things, but it's still an important part if you plan on actually going after this vision. All right, second to last one. This is where people get most confused. So I'm going to try and break this down as simple as possible. What you want to do here is you want to seek alternatives. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, there's plenty of different ways for your idea to come to life. For example, we want to do a social media site, and social media sites kind of only have 2 options. It can either be an app, which is what everyone is, right? Instagram is an app, or it can be a desktop version, right? So you can also get to Instagram if you go on the web and you look it up on Google. And we had to decide, okay, like which one is best? Of course, immediately our first thought was, let's do an app. Like that's what we want to do. But that's the whole point, is it's important to take a step back and look at all your options and go, okay, what's actually the best step, right? If you're in retail, if it's a physical product, whatever your idea is, there's always going to be at least 1 or 2 other alternatives. And it's important to at least consider them. And what you want to do here is you want to do what they call the magic lenses. You want to look at both of the ideas on a 2x2 graph like we just did and look at it from different perspectives. So the first one is money, right? So like which one's going to cost more? And then you go, okay, what about revenue? Which one's going to make us more? And then you go, okay, well, what about practicality? Like which one's going to be harder to build? And then you go, okay, like what about this? And you just keep on going and you look at as many lenses as you feel comfortable. I would recommend 4 to 6. And then you just look at it and you go, okay, like overall, which one did the best? Like which one? And then you look at it and you go, okay, well, the app's probably going to make more revenue. It's going to be easier to grow and the customers are going to like it more. But the desktop version is going to be much easier to build and it's going to be cheaper. And then you have to look at it from a wide perspective and go, okay, here's what it looks like through these different lenses. And which one do you like best? And then make a decision and go forward. It's a little confusing and it might seem like a waste of time, but it's important to look at the different ways in which your idea can manifest itself. And now we're ready for a founding hypothesis. I want to give you another couple examples of what a founding hypothesis sounds like. Here's Slack. If anyone's ever worked in the corporate world, Slack is a very big thing. Slack said, if we help teams solve communication with searchable chat, they will choose it over email because our solution is fun and boosts teamwork. Does that sound like a good business model? Yeah, I mean, it worked out pretty well, right? They're very clear of like, hey, look, we're here to solve communication with a searchable chat. People will choose it over email because our solution is fun and boosts teamwork. Very simple. And it's a great opportunity for you to take this idea that you had and look at it and go, okay, like, is this a real thing? Can this actually work? I also want to read you the one that I came up with my co-founder for Progress, the app we're working on. It's a little wordy though. If we help goal-oriented individuals solve the inability to share all their goals and progress in a culturally normal way, with a hybrid tracking/social media app, they will choose it over iMessage, Instagram, and standard goal tracking apps because our solution is healthy and visual. So that's the vision. And that's how you take this random idea of a social media app and turn it into, okay, like what does this actually look like? Who are we serving? What are we solving? Who are we up against? Why would people pick it? Why would they care? This is a great way for you to take ideas and actually take a good look at them and be like, okay, is this going to work? Now, that's the first part of this series. Next, we're going to talk about sprint. And we're going to talk about, okay, we looked at this idea and we feel good about it. We're going to move forward. How do you test it and get even more confident? Like people actually want this and will pay for this and use it. Thanks for tuning in. Till next time. If you have any books that you would like to see in the next series, leave them down below.